The name of that beautiful song is titled The Other Side, and it was written and sang by my special guest today, Mabilene. How are you, Mabilene? And thank you so much for being on the Friday Afternoon Music Mix.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful sunny day in Nashville, so, I'm all smiles.
That's wonderful. Um, I want to talk a little bit about your new album, which is getting rave reviews, by the way. It just came out, I think, the end of October, did it not?
Actually, November 19th it came out. I started releasing
Okay.
some singles earlier, yeah, so it was trickling out in October, but the official release was November 19th.
Yes, I got an advance copy from your radio
You
promoter and have
did?
managed to play. Yes, I did. I'm a lucky guy. Have played, I think, 3 or 4 songs from the new album, and I'm getting a lot of really good feedback from my listeners.
Oh,
Um,
that's
I
wonderful.
want to I want to talk a little bit too about your music career. You started as a solo artist and have an album, by the way, a very fine album that I listened to that came out in 2013. And it is called, let me see what I've got written down here, Let It Break.
Yes,
And
wonderful.
some wonderful material that are on that you wrote, from Broken Pieces with a demo also of the same song, Another Love Song, and My Heart were really beautiful songs that I enjoyed and showed your not only your beautiful voice but your songwriting skills. Then I understand that you moved to Los Angeles. You're from Houston native originally,
I am a
and
Houston native, yeah. Texan, born and raised.
and then moved to Los Angeles. Was a member of a folk art band, a folk rock band that was there,
Yeah.
and that you decided to head back to where you're more towards your roots, a little past it, but to Nashville, and then your solo career, of which you record under Maybelline. I will point out that your original album is available on Amazon and SoundCloud and all under your name, under Jenny Weaver, and that's called Let It
Mhm.
Break. The new album is titled Maybelline, and the title of that album is called The Other Side.
Yes.
Wonderful album, available on all the outlets, Amazon, Spotify,
All the
iTunes, all
places.
of
There's
them.
so many these days. It's like
Right.
I'm just like
You're
anywhere you buy, stream, steal music, it's there.
yeah,
Just come find
indeed.
it.
And I want to also tell them that they need to take a look at your beautiful website as well. It's MabileneMusic.com. And we should point out that the name Mabilene is not the conventional spelling of what we have. That's Mabilene music.com. The
Excellent. Yes.
new album, I noticed, was produced by someone who is really well thought of in the music business, and that's Jordan Laning, who also has done work for a plethora of other artists, including Rodney Crowell. Tell me a little bit, if you would, Maybelline, about your process that you went through with Jordan in producing this new album, because it is so well produced.
Thank you. He was an absolute pleasure to work with. His father was a producer as well. So he grew up in Nashville, just like steeped in music. And working with him, it's like he's almost like a mad genius. The pace with which he can shift focus, write an arrangement, translate an idea is really incredible. When I first moved to Nashville, I was actually considering another producer and we'd met, but then I heard a Lydia Luce album called Azalea. And she was an artist I'd shared some bills with. She has an amazing house concert series I'd been to in Nashville. And so she was on my radar. And when I heard this record, the string arrangements just pulled me in. And I was like, whoever did that, I need to know. And I emailed him. We met for lunch. And that was it. Like, I just felt so comfortable with him and felt like he immediately got my vision and was like unquestioning. He was like, absolutely, let's do that. Whereas I feel like some other producers might have tried to put their stamp on it immediately. He really was like, I hear what you're saying. You love all these old records, these old sounds. Let's do that. So it was a great process. Like once we got started, once I had, the funds together, which is a whole other process. pre-production was really easy. It was quick. And then because we were on a budget, we just had to work really quickly. And so we got great artists that were creative and open and could, um, process ideas and lay them down quickly. And it was a wonderful experience. It was just a wonderful experience. He there were only a couple times in the studio where something was happening that just felt kind of off to me, and both times, like, he would just turn, like, he could feel my energy, and he would just look at me and go, "That's not it, is it?" And I'd be like, "Nope," and we'd shift and move on, and, it was just really nice working with someone who was able to flow like that. Yeah, and then, those string arrangements, he does string arrangements for everyone, he's really known for that in this town, so having that skill set on top of his amazing ability to produce was a godsend.
It was one of the first things I noticed was the use of the strings and how beautiful they are in your music.
Mm,
In addition, I read where he also had an oboe, a French
yeah,
horn, and a glockenspiel.
yeah, yeah, and I love that
Amazing.
he was like, "I really feel, oboe for this song." Like, a lot of producers wouldn't go there, but he, I think, knew how open I was and how I just love that old Wrecking Crew sound, and, I was like, "Absolutely." Like, the emotional quality of an oboe is a really good choice that I probably wouldn't have thought of, but it really adds to the emotion in what I've written, and so I love that he was able to translate that in such a creative way. And the strings, in my solo record from 2013, I put a lot of that into pedal steel, and this was one of my first projects I've not used a pedal steel, and I decided, I wanted to put all of that voicing into string arrangements, because I love, like, the old, like, Al Green or, you know, uh what's his name? Glenn Campbell records where these strings come in and they just add this amazing emotional layer to the song, and I really wanted to bring that into this record in a big way, which he was completely down for.
You did a wonderful job. The 2 of you, you can tell are joined at the hip with this. It's just
Mm.
that smooth.
Oh,
I'm
you're
glad
welcome.
that you brought up, the Wrecking Crew and Glenn Campbell, who, of course, was a member of that originally. I
Yeah.
know you were influenced a lot, not only by several prominent female, artists, but also by your father.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he played in bands in college and, I still play his old Gibson guitar. Um, it's in the old Magnolia video that we just released. I'm playing his guitar. When we were watching it on Diddy TV where it aired, he was like, "That's my guitar." And I was like, "Of course that's your guitar. It's still my favorite guitar to play." Um, but yeah, so,
That's
he
wonderful.
always had, all sorts of music on, when I was a kid, and I was just obsessed with their record collection and um, would put it on and dance around, and yeah, so it's been both of my parents because my mom was really heavy into the Linda Ronstadts, the Emmylou Harris, and then my dad was more like Beatles, Huey Lewis and the News, sports. Like, I remember when that record, came out. So yeah, they've always been music lovers in a big way, which I think has made a big difference.
And a major influence on you, which is
Oh yeah,
great.
huge influence, huge influence.
You mentioned Linda Ronstadt. Why don't we play you? By the way, I want to point out that you wrote all but 2 of the songs that are on this album. One of the covers I remember because I'm old enough to remember that very well. Is one, as you mentioned, by Linda Ronstadt called "Keep Me from Blowing Away." How about if we
Mm.
play that?
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I spent my whole lifetime in a world where the sunshine finds excuses for not hanging around. I squandered my colors run together and fade. Oh Lord, if you hear me, touch me and hold me and keep me from blowing away. There's times when I tremble, when my mind's remembered all the days that just crumbled away. With nothing to show but these lines that I know are beginning to show in my face. Oh Lord, if you're listening, you know I'm no Christian, and I ain't got much coming to me. So send down some sunshine, throw out your lifeline, and keep me from blowing away. Oh Lord, if you hear me, touch me and hold me and keep me from blowing away.
Well, I hope Linda Ronstadt has heard that cover because you've done a fantastic job on it. It's the other cover that's on here. By the way, that was written by Paul Kraft. Then you had one other cover, I think, that was on here, got written in my notes here somewhere, I think by Nancy Wilson, which was How
Yeah.
Glad I Am, which is also a beautiful song. You did a wonderful job on that one as well.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's just terrific album. Let's mention again that my special guest is Mabilene. Her new album is titled The Other Side. It's available at all the conventional outlets, about 7,000 of them, I think. And please also let's look at her. Is that new video on your website that you talked about?
It's not on the website yet. I'm getting it added to the site, but it's on YouTube. If you go to any of the social media, Instagram, Facebook, it's there. It's pretty easy to find. Yeah.
Good. But also take a look at her wonderful website called MabileneMusic.com, and that's spelled Mabilene. You won't be disappointed. Let's talk a little bit about your songwriting process. I love some of the things that you are. It's obvious you're an advocate by the beautiful lyrics of your song, and that you care deeply about what's going on in our country and in the world today. Tell me a little bit about how you go about this process and what's influenced you to, write the way that you do.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think, as I get older and older, I realize that I have more influences than I even knew I did. Like I watched what was his name? Guy Clark documentary recently, and realized that there were like little traces of things I'd heard growing up that just stuck with me. I didn't even know where they came from, but they created this like patina of influence that is all over my music. And for me, most of my solo writing comes out of something that I'm going through or witnessing that just distills into lyrics and music. And I'll be walking and just start hearing lyrics and melody forming. And I usually grab my phone and sing into it, whatever I'm hearing at the time. And, some of those songs, nothing happens. But when a song really wants to come through, it just doesn't stop until I sit down, pick up my guitar, and figure out what's going on. And then when I write with other people, it's a completely different process. Like that is, I always tell people, like, I can co-write any day at any time. I can sit down and write with someone. But when it's me on my own, I'm much more tied to inspiration moving through me, or else I get very discouraged and bored sort of quickly. But yeah, the process is really just, an emotion or an event is moving through me and it transforms into music. I've heard a bunch of different people. I think, Tom Waits has spoken about this, and Elizabeth Gilbert in her book Big Magic, which is phenomenal, talks about this. But it's almost like something is moving through on the wind and you just feel like you grab up, like, you reach up and grab it and it's just yours to translate in that moment. And if you don't, then it moves along and goes to someone else. Like, I really feel that way about a lot of the songs that I've written. They just come through so quickly, almost fully formed. And sometimes, like the other side, which you opened with, you know, that was like, the year after the 2016 election. There was so much going on. My band wasn't doing well at the time. I had decided I needed to move across the country. And I actually woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't get back to sleep and just started writing in my phone, just, in prose, and then forgot about it, fell back asleep. And then a couple weeks later, I just had this memory of like, did I really wake up in the middle of the night and write a lot? And I picked up my phone and like almost the entire song was there, just the lyrics. Like, I'd just been writing about what was going on. And so that was one that really, you know, moved through based upon like some really tough decisions I was having to make, around like where my career was going to go and who was going to be there and where I was going to be living. So that's kind of a long answer to
No, it's
how do
it's
I write,
wonderful.
but
Thank
yeah,
you. It's
yeah.
wonderful. I mean, and when you listen, and as you were speaking, I was thinking of the songs that I've listened to several times that really, to me, are standouts on this album: Carolina,
Mm,
California, and of course, we
mm.
talked about your new video for Old Magnolia, which is just a fantastic song, Running in Circles, and then, of course, the last song, Another Vanished Year. Wow.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd think
yeah.
that song was written about, the pandemic and COVID. Like, it's just the way it lands right now. But I actually wrote it years ago for a friend going through a divorce. It was
That's
just,
what I read.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty
Incredible.
wild.
This is an amazing album by an amazing artist. My special guest today is Mabilene. I want to be sure and point out that her brand new album, which came out in November, is called The Other Side, available on all of the conventional outlets, all millions of them. And also visit her website, please, at MabileneMusic.com, Mabilene music.com. Mabilene, thank you so very much for joining me here today on the Friday Afternoon Music Mix. I just can't tell you how much I have enjoyed talking with you today about your new album and your music. I just wish you the very best. I think this is going to be a success. I really do.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to join you. I really, really appreciate it. And I love getting the opportunity to talk about what I do. So thank you.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. Let's go out with another song from the album, which this one is absolutely my favorite. And I was so glad you included it in our interview today. It's called Partner in Crime. It has special meaning to me for someone that's very close to me, that we share a story that of this, that someone is a partner in crime. Also, we use the term honor among thieves, and so this had a special
I'll have to
meaning
write
to
that
me.
one.
Please do. I think that'd be great. Honor among thieves. I think that'd be terrific. Once again, best wishes, happy holidays, and thank you so much for joining me. And let's hear Partner in Crime.